Welcome black, welcome black. Live that SINY, your host Jai Dreads. We back for another banger. We're gonna start the New Year's off. They already had the fireworks, they already had the champagne, but we do have a serious topic to talk about here today, and I do have a very special guest here by the name of Victor Abraham.
Yes.
And he does have a story to tell, and I would like y'all to listen to his story. Judgment free. Just think about if it was your child or your son or you or somebody you knew or a neighbor in that situation. So let's just take it from the top because we do have an exclusive here about a situation that's been going on for way too long, and it needs to be addressed, so I'm glad it was brought to my attention. All right?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. My name is Victor Abraham.
Yes.
At 19, instead of graduating from high school like the rest of my classmates, I ended up in a situation where I had never been before.
So just take them from the top. What was the day?
The first arrest took place October 17th, 2016.
Okay, so you wake up October 17th, 2016, and let's just go through.
All right. So throughout the day, I was just hanging out with my friends, enjoying the day. It became, I think it was around 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night.
Right.
I was coming out of my apartment, and I just seen the cops rushing the back, like it's a building. I used to live in 55 Bone Street. That's located in Park Hill.
Park Hill?
Yeah,
Okay.
so 225 is like right across from it. That's like the back of the building.
Everybody know that one.
Everybody over there. So usually when the cops, when they see people over there, they usually rush over there trying to, see what's going on. So I thought...
When you say usually, that means it doesn't have to be a commotion.
Anything, just people gathering back there, having a good time, having laughs, and enjoying their lives.
Right.
The cops always see that as a problem that needs handling, so they always rush back there to disperse people from back there.
And you see how you said always see it as a problem.
Yeah.
But there's no problem.
There's no problem.
Right.
People just enjoying, relaxing the day. So when I seen them rushing back there, I was crossing the street going into the parking lot now. So when I seen them rushing back there, I just thought it was anything.
Right.
So when I walked towards my car, they surrounded my vehicle. So I'm like, what's going on? What's the problem? They're like, oh, what's your name? What's your name? And I told them my name. I'm like, my name is Victor Abraham. In fact, they was looking at the car that my mother had rented for me.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, this is my car, but isn't my mom's name? She rented it for me or whatever the case might be. Then they was like, okay, repeat your name again. And I'm like, Victor Abraham. Then they was like, oh, we have an iCard. We just want to ask you some questions if you could come down with us. And I ain't see anything wrong with it because I ain't do nothing wrong. So I'm like, all right, no problem. We're going to come. They put me in handcuffs. And
so did they ask anybody else to identify themselves other than you?
No, nobody else was there at the time. Even my friend was in the car with me, but by the time I came down, I guess he got tired of waiting for me or whatever the case might be, and he took off. So when I came down, my car door was locked and everything. So I was opening my car, and then they was already there too. So there's like, this your car and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, my name. They asked for my name. I told them. And then they was just like, oh, well, we have an iCard for you. We just want you to come down to the stations. Ask.
And an iCard is what?
I guess from what I understand now, it's just like an identification card, like, oh, it's not really a warrant or anything like that, but they just want to ask you some questions.
Because I've never heard of that right there.
Yeah, but that was what they told me. So, nowadays you can't really resist police officers and their commands because we already see on the news what happens when you do that. So,
But you do have to know your rights and try to avoid having them violated. So this is why we're doing this program here also, because you might not have known your rights then.
Yes.
But by the time we finish this show, okay, anybody out there who didn't know the rights. Okay, they will know their rights at the end of this show.
Yeah, this is why this story is so important, because it's like they were so comfortable to harm me. You know, they were so comfortable to do all these things to me.
Right, and you're 19 years old.
Yes.
You're a young man. You're like I don't want to say baby, but
Yeah.
you're still a
young adult,
teenager,
yeah.
right? Still a teenager. And I feel if any law enforcement or anything was going to approach you, they should have approached you in that manner. And your parents should have been notified.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay. So you continue.
All right, so I went in their vehicle. They took me down to the 120. At that point, they had put me in like an interrogation room. And I noticed, I guess they had put the heat up to like 100 or 120 degrees, because it was to the point where I couldn't even keep my eyes open.
Right.
So they took off my cuffs, one of my cuffs, and then they chained me to the radiator. And that's where I remained for hours.
So the heat is on,
Yeah.
and then because the cuffs are metal, and they put the metal to the heat on the radiator.
Yeah, but I don't think the heat source was coming from that radiator.
From where they connected
yeah,
the
I just think
handcuff.
it's there to just for them to chain people to
Right.
it, so they don't chain you to the chair or something like that. Because I noticed the chairs wasn't bolted to the floor, so I guess
Okay,
that's
but you came in there at your own will.
yeah.
So what was that needed for?
Because they just made it seem like I didn't have a choice in the matter. They said, "Oh, it was an I-card," and at the time I didn't know what was going on. So
Right, but what I'm saying is you came there on your own will. You didn't come there handcuffed in the front or the back. You walked
no, I was handcuffed in the back.
when you came to the precinct?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, they had me handcuffed in the back, like a regular, like when they arrest people, they have them handcuffed.
Did they tell you you were under arrest?
No, they just say you had an I-card. So I didn't know what that was. I'm thinking it's the same thing as a warrant or anything like that. So I just went down there with them, and they had me in there for like an hour, like I said, but every time I noticed they would come in the room, it's like they would lower the heat down for themselves.
Right.
But while I was in there, they had the heat blasting. So now they came in there, they started asking me some questions. They showed me a video of what appeared, I thought at the time it was my mother's car, because she had like an Acura, like an Acura MDX or something like that. So they showed me a car at the McDonald's on Forest Avenue, like going through the drive-through.
Okay.
So they showed me the car, and I tell them, "Oh yeah, it looks like my mom's car, but I don't know. It probably somebody took my car, because I have friends and stuff in my house all the time. Somebody probably took my car and went to McDonald's or something like that. It wasn't no big deal, because they probably was back by the time I even realized the car was gone." So when they were showing me the video, I said, "Yeah, it looks like my mom's car and all these things." And then they said, "Well, at the time this car is going through, it was a stolen credit card being used, like for like a purchase." So at that point, I was like, "Well, I don't know anything about that." And in fact,
just, I don't want to stop you because you're on the flow right now. So they seen a car come through the drive-through.
Yeah.
And they was good enough to see it come through, so they couldn't see the license plate number.
Yeah, because
they couldn't zoom in and see who was in the car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you're pretty bright-skinned, fair-skinned compared to me. So I mean, if they zoomed in the camera, it would have easily shown, if you were the driver or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So even when they showed me the video, I didn't 100% know what it was. I was just guessing too, because obviously I know my mom has that same type of car. So I was like, yeah, that could be my mom's car. And then they was telling me, "Oh, somebody's stolen car was there." I was like, I don't got nothing to do with that. And besides, I have multiple friends and stuff like that come in my house, take my car, probably be back before I even know it. So at that point...
But did they ask you, did you want legal counsel or would you...
Yeah, they read me my rights. But at the time, I'm innocent. I'm an innocent bystander. So I hadn't been in a situation like this where I'm thinking they're gonna use my words against me and stuff like that. I have nothing to hide. So that's why I'm like, all right, they asking me these questions, and so I'm gonna just answer it to the best of my ability. It's not like I was making anything up. People do come in my house. People do take my car sometimes without me knowing it's back before I even know it.
All right.
So I told them all those things, and then they just went from there to putting me in a lineup. Like I literally spent like 3 days in the 120 precinct. The whole time they was putting me in lineups. They said that a victim had identified me from
So
the lineup.
3 days worth of just nothingness in the precinct, but they're putting you in numerous lineups while you're
Yes,
there.
yes. And finally, the first lineup they took me into, I recognized some kids from my neighborhood, because usually when a crime happened like that, they try to look for kids like, oh, we'll pay $20, you come stand in this filling or whatever. And
No, that's the normal that they do.
yeah,
And even that could be a setup because that same kid they paid $20 could get pointed out and
Yeah,
don't even be
exactly.
the person. You
Exactly.
understand what I'm saying? But what's standing out here to me is, okay, they already read you your Miranda rights. So there's a certain amount of time from you being arrested to you making it to the judge.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting in a precinct for 3 days doing a whole bunch of lineups, okay, doesn't the time runs out on that specific crime because they didn't never get you to the judge, you know?
in time.
Right.
Yeah, but in this situation, they did that to me. That's what occurred. I was in the precinct for 3 days, and then all of a sudden they was like, "Oh well, you've been picked. A robbery victim picked you out of a lineup. They said you robbed them. You took off your mask and told the person remember your face and all type of things. They were all type of accusations. But by the time they started accusing me after I told them, oh yeah, I think that might be my mother's car, and they were started to name a whole bunch of other robberies I had no knowledge about at the time. And I just said I wanted to speak to my lawyer, like I don't know what is going on here now at this point. I guess I just had a awakening or something like that. I'm like, wait, these people is really trying to, do something to me here.
Because, at first it was something light.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It was just supposed to be an eye card. We just
Right.
asked you questions. So I already answered your question, but now it's trying to look like, oh yeah, you trying to basically say I had something to do with this. So at that point, I'm like, there's no need for me talking to you. Let me just get my lawyer.
And it looks like they want above and beyond.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because if you're in the precinct for 3 days and you're doing a whole bunch of different lineups, come on now.
Yes, and
Right.
it was
That's
so
right.
shocking because when I sat down, the lineup didn't even last that long. So in the back of my mind, I'm thinking that anybody even really picked me, because by the time I sat down in the lineup, 3 seconds later, oh, the lineup's finished. You've been picked. That's it.
So it seems like they was determined
Yeah.
to, I don't want to say pin yet, but they was determined to connect you
Yes.
to this investigation, so-called investigation
Yes,
they had
and,
going on.
and the funny thing about this is because by the time I ended up in front of the judge, I had no convictions, nothing on my criminal record that would suggest, oh, this is the type of life
Right.
Victor has been living since being
Right.
in this country. So when I got in front of the judge, they was pushing for my bail to be 100,000. Like, oh, this is a violent thing. He took off his mask. He was malicious. He showed a firearm. All these things. So the judge was like, look, Mr. Abraham hasn't been arrested before. This is the first time
So
I've
that was
seen
your
him.
first offense?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, so the judge was like, we're not going to set his bill that high. We're going to make it 10,000. But at the time, 10,000 is still
It's
a
still
lot
high,
of money.
right,
Yeah, it's
it
still a
is.
lot of money. So at that point, my family didn't have it. And so I ended up being sent to Rikers Island for the first time ever in my life. And I was held there for 18 days.
Okay, that was the first
First arrest.
18 days.
Yes.
And that was the first 18 days.
Yeah, and that's separate from the 3 days in the precinct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're talking 3 weeks of your life just taken, gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Was your family able to reach out to you, get in contact with you?
Yeah, it was mostly my mother at the time that really had my back during this situation, because like you got to understand our culture, like we from Africa. So if anything like this is on our family name, is like an embarrassment.
That, okay,
Yes.
that stigma.
Yeah.
But another stigma is you're not really aware of the laws, and you know what I'm saying? If they're telling you you broke a law
Yeah.
and you're not aware of, what's going on, like I'm pretty sure your mom, she didn't really put two and two together and say they're doing this to my son.
Right.
She's more of my son. I got to get him from over there. What's going on?
Yeah.
Right. So she did reach out to you, but it was more of, that let's clear this up and we got to fix our family name because we can't have that following behind us, instead of trying to get a lawyer or at least a community person, because y'all are from Park Hill.
Yeah.
Park Hill is a strong African community
Right.
with a bunch of African leaders out there. Somebody should have came and spoke up and said, look, this young man, his rights has been being violated, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And, let's start and do this the right way. You know what I'm saying? Even if we didn't start it the right way, let's make sure we follow. Somebody should have been watching them to make sure they follow the procedures after.
Right.
So now in this story, we're at Rikers for 18 days now, right? Plus the 3 days in the precinct, that's where I get the 3 weeks,
Yeah.
okay? 7 days a week, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so that was a new experience in itself, because when I arrived on Rikers Island, it was a shock to me, to the treatment we was receiving on Rikers Island. Like, I remember sleeping 4 days on the floor in intake in OBCC just to be housed in a unit. Like,
And that's before you make it to a house.
yes, before you make it to a dome or whatever the case might be. I remember sleeping on the floor. I remember, just not feeling the whole experience, because when I was there, I knew in my heart I didn't, commit these crimes. So being treated like that, being abused, being sprayed in your face with mace, and you needing help and people just walk by you like that has a psychological effect on you. Like,
Right,
being
because-
treated less than a human being.
Right, and if we did the math, that's 3 days in the precinct and 4 days on the floor there, so that's a week of no bed, no bath, no, you know what I'm saying?
Stinking.
Right.
And it was other people there as well, and they was explaining to me, oh look, this is the norm, this is what people go through
It's not.
here.
Right, it's
Yeah,
not.
but I already knew that I'm a human being. I'm not supposed to be being treated like this, regardless if I was guilty or not guilty of a crime. I shouldn't be getting treated like
It's
this.
innocent
Yeah,
until you can prove
guilty.
that they're guilty.
Yeah, but it's like on Rikers Island, they treat you like you're guilty before you even. There's no innocent part to any of it. You're automatically guilty.
And them 18 days there, did a lawyer reach out to you?
The lawyer I had at the time was legal aid. So at the time of going through this, I didn't know how inefficient legal aid really is, and how they're more for the state than they are for their clients.
Right.
So throughout that 18 days, I realized that, look, I'm in this by myself, because the lawyer is not helping me. I already explained to this lady, I don't know what these people was talking about, and she completely ignored it. But I can't really hold her accountable, because at the time, she didn't look like she was ready for this case, because she was even pregnant at the time, and and my situation just got thrust onto her. So
Right, but, if it was any slacking
yeah,
where they was macking, it was on them.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You
Absolutely.
don't have nothing to do with who they picked to represent you, who was chosen to do the job. The person that was picked, no matter if they was pregnant, no matter if they had Alzheimer's, no matter what, they were supposed to do the job, which is defend you, basically.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's no excuse, none whatsoever. And just sitting down and hearing, you was in the precinct 3 days, you was in intake 4 days,
Yeah.
okay? That should have been enough for them, for a light bulb, a red flag, whatever it was that needed to come up and see that this young man needs serious assistance right now.
And during that time, I even remember having manic episodes where I was even harming myself. Like, I was jumping, they put me in a cage by myself or whatever, And I remember trying to kill myself. I remember, you know,
Have you
taking.
ever had thoughts like that previously?
Yes, I've had thoughts like that, but, and this goes back before this incident, like, my mother is the type that believes in corporal punishment, like disciplining your kid from where we from that's acceptable.
Right.
So when we came here, she didn't know at the time that that wasn't the law in this country. You can't just beat your kids and stuff like that. So ACS ended up taking us from my mother on the claim that, oh, they was gonna put me in a better situation. And that better situation was
It's
way
worse,
worse
right.
than what they took me from my mother.
Right.
So before this, they took me from my mother when I was like 13, 14. So by the time I came home, I was like 17, 18.
Right.
Because she had to complete all these classes, all these different things. So by the time I came home, she was turning over the apartment to me. That's how come I ended up living by myself.
Right.
And so I was dealing with trauma from that already. So, because in that
Separated
situation,
from your family, being from a different country, and then being in this country, and being separated from your family, being exposed to different
elements.
right. Just, you have one way of upbringing in your household, and in America is a whole different
It's a
way
different
up.
scenario, exactly. And when they put me in that situation, like you said, being away from my family and stuff like that, and just being abused by staff and other kids that was there, because everybody's going through something, but they, instead of them hurting themselves or something like that, they hurt people. So basically, they took out their frustration on me. I wasn't even supposed to be in that place because at the time I was underage.
Right.
So they put me in a place that was called St. John's Group Home. It's located in Queens. I think they closed it now because of all the accusations and stuff like that. So they closed that down. So I just made it home from that situation. I was trying to pick my life back up, go into the Air Force, and then all of a sudden I got bombarded with these false accusations.
Right, because you were on a path to graduate high school, and your dream was to attend and go to the Air Force and become a pilot.
Yes,
Right.
that was my dream. I had even took the ASVAB test, and they told me I had good grades, that I was good to go. I just needed to take my GED test. I was going for my GED, actually, I should say. So I took that like a few weeks or so before this happened. I took the test, but I only failed the math by like 2 points. So I was studying now to go retake. Only the math I failed by 2 points. I passed everything else. So I just needed to pass my math, get my GED, and I would have been on my way to basic training. So now when when that happened, it just derailed my whole life. It just derailed my whole life. That this arrest, and then on top of that, the lies they was printing about me in the papers too. To this day, I haven't even recovered.
Right, because Staten Island Live did quite a few stories about you.
Yes.
And there wasn't nothing nice in there. In none of these stories. Nothing nice, nothing that portrayed you as that innocent person or somebody who just was at the wrong place at the wrong time, being in the back of that building when they walked up asking questions. You know what I'm saying? They just portrayed you as you did it.
Right.
And then what happened when it came out you didn't do it?
When it came out, I didn't do it. They went to completely absolving the Richmond County District Attorney Office of any wrongdoing. They don't even speak about the time I spent in prison unlawfully. They absolved the cops of any wrongdoing that was done to me, and they just left it at that. When it didn't fit them, when it didn't fit their narrative, and I'm telling you, these people did not miss a day of my court. They was there for my indictment. They was there for when I was doing pre-trial hearings. They was there for every single situation with this case that was there.
But with them being there,
Yeah.
okay, and I don't know what that was about either. It seemed sort of like intimidation or whatever. But you eventually was acquitted of every charge they had against you.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So all of that energy they put in for that, right?
Right.
What energy was put in to make corrections for the mistakes that they made?
It was no energy put in whatsoever. In fact, the only remedy the Staten Island Advance people offered me was actually destroying all the articles, like deleting all the articles that you could find up about me right now just by Googling Victor Abraham Staten Island. They wanted to delete all that evidence. And I told them, you can't delete that. That's your truth.
Right, and that's more like covering their
Up,
tracks, right?
yes.
Covering up their tracks for
Absolutely.
what they did wrong.
Absolutely.
And then, what about the story where you was acquitted at? Shouldn't that been like a big story? Shouldn't that been like, you know, they should have, same way they knocked you down, they should have been uplifting you.
Yes.
Right.
And I wouldn't even say uplifting me, but just telling the truth. Like when it was time for them to mimic or parody what the NYPD was telling them, they didn't do actual research or anything like that. They just went with whatever.
They went consistently and they went hard in the paint.
Yes. Spewing the lies of the NYPD and these officers and stuff like that. So when it was time now to show that, oh look, these cops fabricated evidence against me, destroyed evidence against me, they hesitated on doing anything because they know that, you know, it's not in their best interest. Because if this story comes to light, it makes them look like bad people. They're journalists. They're supposed to be able to tell the truth and not have no bias whatsoever.
Right.
But that wasn't the case in my situation, and I don't. To this
And
day, I
then
don't
even
know.
till now, they have not corrected none
They
of
have
the.
not corrected the articles are still
So
there.
please tell me, while you were in jail, and this was going on, because you had the media
Yeah.
stories going on too. What was the experience like for you to be in jail for something you didn't do, but everybody's looking at you like you did it?
Yeah, it was a eye-opening experience actually, because it's like when I don't know how criminals think. I'm not a criminal, but
Right.
people that
That
go
was your
in there.
first offense.
Yes.
Okay, and it wasn't even your first offense.
It wasn't.
Right.
So I notice when certain people, they go in there, they get comfortable. You know, I need this, I'm wearing street clothes and stuff like that.
Right.
Trying to make it like it's home, but you got to realize that's not your home. Like, it even came to the point where I used to go from court and be like, oh, I can't wait till I get home.
Right.
And that wasn't even my home.
Right.
So things like that, you just got to be self-aware. Like, you know, you in hell, you know, and they're watching us 24/7. So if they got us in hell, and they see us, we comfortable, we having a good time, we laughing. That's every excuse for them to keep doing this to us.
I'm glad you brought that up because this was 2016.
Yes.
And if you do the timeline of October,
Yes.
just go Google and see what happened in November. You know what I'm saying? What this timeline was leading up to. I ain't gonna drop the ball on it, okay? But if they look and see, because you weren't the only person who they picked up with the same MO and the same.
Absolutely. It's like what they do is something can happen in Manhattan, and the first place they're gonna look is either Park Hill or any other neighborhood on Staten Island that have minority people. And to me, in my heart, we not the minority. We the majority. And they try to treat us like we the minority.
And regardless,
yeah.
you know, don't pin something on somebody who didn't do it. Because I had two of my nephews in a very similar situation, and they're African also, to where one was offered a plea, and he took the plea for 2 to 5. And the other one, I told him, you're not taking no plea. You're going to take this to trial. We're going to fight this. And the day before the trial, the witness said, no, that's not him. I went to school with him. And it was just thrown out after putting him through the mud like that and destroying his name at SI Live, just destroying his name with the family. You know, there's so many repercussions behind this. You know what I'm saying? I wanted you here because I want to help you get a resolution. So if there's anybody out there who knows the law, who can help with the law, who can counsel with the law, who can just help this young man right here, what is the best way for them to reach out to you and find you?
My phone number is 551-697-6352, and my email address right now is prime, PRIME, TV1451 at gmail.com. So between my phone number and my email address, I'm always next to those numbers, because at this point, it's like when I was going through that situation, I didn't have anybody. So that's why I even started my organization, so that, you know, if anybody's going through something like this, they could reach out to me and I'll be able to help them the best way I can. Even if it's just, you know, words of encouragement, like keep your head up. If you know in your heart you didn't do something, you know, don't go up there and say you did it if you know you didn't do it.
And the organization, how will they reach you for that?
The organization is called the Infinity Foundation, and I'm working on a website right now. Everything is in the works. But my number and my email is the most active you can reach me.
And if you want to do research on the stories, you put in his name and Staten Island in Google, and it will pull up.
Everything you need to see, but it's like those things
Are very biased.
Yeah, are very biased. I want to caution you guys, and it's not the truth. Is the only thing that's true in there is probably my name.
Right.
Yeah, that's probably the only thing that's true about these articles that you will find about me. But, you know, that's my work now, trying to, you know, fix my life that these people destroyed. And
you know, we skipped over a
big
part of it, you know what I'm saying? But I had already
yeah.
explained to you that I don't care how long it takes
Right.
to get the whole story out. You are invited back as many times until, you know, we feel like we have accomplished what we came here to do.
Right.
But we did skip a lot, and it's like, I want to go back, but then I don't want to take you back over there right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because you in this mode right here, and I don't want to get you in that mode right there. But
Nah, but it's important, you know.
Right.
It's important.
through all of this, how has it been? Because you have started a family now,
Right.
and how has it been raising your family for you?
It's been very difficult because I know the truth. I know what, you know, and everywhere we go, people tell me, oh, my kids look like me. So in that sense, it's like the same thing could happen to them. And this is why, you know, I wake up with such good energy, and I'm so consistent in my fight against what these people did to me, because I'm also setting an example for my kids that, you know, like this is not tolerable, especially if we live in the land of the free, the land of equal justice. You know, this is your country just as much as anybody else's country. And your dad came here because of rights, opportunities, and before I could even reach my full potential, it was cut short. So I'm just happy it happened to me and not, you know, and I could be able to tutor my kids. I could be able to help other individuals that might be going through the same situation, because yeah, I'm not the first, and I'm sure I won't be the last, but that doesn't mean it needs to keep going on. That don't mean, oh, because I'm not the last, that this is going to happen to, that it needs to keep going on.
But until it becomes a topic, like now, you know what I'm saying? It has to become a topic. People have to open their eyes and realize what's going on around them, because you had dreams of becoming an Air Force pilot.
Right.
And right now, what do you want to become?
Right now, those dreams are not attainable just because of my medical records now, that ever since this happened to me, it's not attainable. But right now, what I'm really passionate about is my music, my art, and just, you know, trying to help as much individuals as possible, because I know if the more people I help, the more it's gonna be, like, more people is gonna be awoke. Like, it's not, oh yeah, we sleep now, because before this happened to me, I was one of those individuals who thought, oh yeah, everything is sweet. You know, you see it on the news, oh, people do 44 years.
You don't realize.
Yeah, you don't realize that it could happen to you until it really is you in that situation. So I was fake sleep on that whole injustice and all, but I was starting to realize it. So when I went through the situation, it was just an eye-opening experience. It was just, you know, like, oh, this is what's going on. You know, this is what your attention should be on. I feel like God put me in that situation just so I could be able to see, and then I could be able to lay this testimony on the people, because this is sad what's going on. This is really sad. And
not to be into your medical history or
Right.
whatever, but you did bring up the medication.
You're right.
How did this come about?
Yeah,
Because you
this
never took medication like that before.
right. The medication thing started with my first wrongful imprisonment on Rikers Island because I couldn't sleep and I was having manic episode, what I know now as manic episodes where I talk, I do things disorderly, and you know, you can't. It's not really coherent. Like it's like schizophrenia. That's what I was diagnosed with ever since that first time I came home off of Rikers Island, and this is why everything is just going to lead back into that same situation because even when I came, while I was there, they was giving me Klonopin, they was giving me all these antidepressants, Seroquel, things to help you sleep, and then it kept me in isolation because they seen I was a mental patient.
Right, your body is not used to this.
Yes.
It's causing a lot of confusion from your brain processing
And the
this
brain
stuff.
is the most important body part. People forget if your brain is not healthy, it's very
Wow.
it's very crazy. Your brain is what controls your whole body, your whole thought process, everything. So if your brain, you can't put your brain in a wheelchair. So right now when people see me, they think, oh yeah, everything is fine with him.
Right.
He's
Normal,
yeah,
regular,
but
right.
deep down, everything is just like I said. I haven't even had a good night's sleep since 2016, since this whole.
And we're in 2024 now,
Yes.
so we're talking about 7-8 years now. You have not had a good night's rest. Now, can you imagine not being able to have a good night's rest? Okay,
Yes.
and he briefly went through the medical story, but you was brought to an institution,
Right.
and you was given medication against your will
Yes.
at first.
And let's talk about that situation briefly. But when my mom bailed me out, the night she bailed me out, mind you, I got locked up October 17th. My bail wasn't paid until October 27th, and hours after my bill was paid, they didn't release me. So they just kept me in there, processing, all this, that, and the third. So they released me like in the middle of the night. I didn't even know where I was. I had to actually have the help of another inmate who lived
And this is
in the
Rikers
Bronx.
Island,
Yes.
right? Which is not like you at across the street in Manhattan.
Yeah,
You gotta
and-
get off that island to get to these places, right?
Absolutely. So as I was walking out, there was another kid that was in the dorm with me at the time that just his bill happened to be paid at the same time. And mind you, this kid lived somewhere in the Bronx, like Yonkers type. And he went out his way to make sure I got back to my apartment safely because he could see I wasn't in the right state of mind either. So he was like, yo, where you going? I'm going to Staten Island. I even put him on the phone with my mom. And he was like, oh, Mr. Abraham, I'm going to bring him home to the apartment. And that's it, because I didn't know how to get back from Rikers Island all the way back to Staten Island at the time. So he brought me back, and then he went on his way, or whatever the case might be. And then all of a sudden, I started having a mental breakdown. Like, I was tearing up my apartment, the neighbors, because everywhere you go in Park Hill, people know my family. People know my mom, people know me, people know my aunts. So I was in the building, I was carving nonsense on the wall. Like, I was completely out of my mind, to the point they called my mom, and my mom showed up and called the ambulance. So now the ambulance showed up, cops showed up. They're like, oh, we're going to take him to Rumsey University. When I got there, I was still having a manic attack.
Right.
At that point, they surrounded me, 10 of these people, and they injected me with Thorazine. At the time, I didn't know what it was. It made me panic even more because I didn't know if I was going to wake up ever again. So they injected me with Thorazine, and for 3 days, I was sedated on the Thorazine. I'm telling you, even when my mom came see me, I couldn't even, I was like this. Like,
Don't
walking-
faint out. Right.
Yeah, like
Right.
that. And
On
then,
the highest, this is the state and city with the most opioids.
right.
Okay, and they're going to dope fiend you out in the hospital.
Exactly, and it was such a scary situation because when I tell you I didn't think I was going to wake up, it was only by the grace of God that 3 days later I'm like getting coherent again. I'm starting to talk better, talk more clearly, and then all of a sudden a nurse came to me and was like, "Oh, we feel your episodes is subduing. We feel like this is the right time to discharge you.
We feel, right,
Yeah.
we feel.
It's the right time to discharge you."
But previously, before that, you just had the stint in the precinct, the days on the Rikers, okay, and no counseling, nobody to talk to you, nobody to debrief you, and nothing.
Even upon my release, they didn't give me no medication to come home with, and I feel like that's probably some of the things that the chemical imbalance in my brain caused me to have
That they
type
created.
of,
Right.
caused me to have that type of attack, because I never had no schizophrenic episodes before a day in my life, before even stepping foot on Rikers Island. That was never part of my diagnosis. So for that situation, it was just a weird thing. They was like, oh, we're discharging. I'm like, they like, call your mom or something like that, because the medication is still wearing off. We don't want to release you by yourself and you just get hit by a car or something like that. So I called my mom. My mom had to drive from Jersey, to come to the hospital.
Shout out to Mom, because Mom was here.
Yeah, nah, she was doing her thing.
Mom was here earlier, and your brother.
Yeah, they was here, but so they called her, and so she became driving. She came from waiting for me in the lobby. Mind you, the psych unit is on the 3rd floor in Richmond University. So you literally have to take an elevator to go downstairs to walk out into the lobby to meet your people. So by the time they was discharging me now, I didn't even make it to the elevator to go downstairs. NYPD was there again to lock me up, claiming the same night my mother paid my bill, the same night I'm trying to find my way out to get back to my apartment.
Right.
I was robbing a 16-year-old in Port Richmond.
So now you already had that one charges you was facing previously.
Yes.
You just touched down, and you've been in the hospital the majority of the time on your touchdown. And you mean to tell me on your way leaving the hospital, you was rearrested for a new robbery charge?
Yes, that's exactly what they did to me. And when I got down to the precinct, nobody would really answer any of my questions. This the time now they was really ducking me now. Nobody would answer my question. They just put me in the back and they did my iris or whatever. I didn't talk to no detective this time. I was taken to court immediately, because at this point I was fed up. I was like, I literally just came out the hospital. What are you guys arresting me for again? And they couldn't tell me a straight answer. But by the
It's just been nonstop.
Yeah,
nonstop. You know what I'm saying? Right. When did you get a time to break a breather? When did your family, you get a time to enjoy your family, your friends, anything? Okay, just nonstop. So now we're headed back to?
In front of the judge.
Okay.
So now we go in front of the judge, and that's when I start learning, oh, well, Mr. Abraham paid bail the 27th, and he robbed this 16-year-old kid, and all these things, making me look like a predicate. Like, this is my career now. Like, I come home from bail, I'm such a terrible person. Oh, I need to go do the same thing again I just got locked up for. So that was the type of picture they painted to me for the judge.
Right, but what proof did they have in either one of them?
Now, that's what I'm saying. I didn't find out about this until like the end of my trial and stuff like that. So
you went to a trial for this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
and how long did that trial take?
That trial probably took like from September. Mind you, this was going on nonstop since 2016. So I was still going to court, pre-motions, all these things. So it was 2 years of just getting ready for trial, and then finally at trial, that's when I started finding out about all the things, the evidence that destroyed, evidence that showed my innocence. Like, common example, I told you I got locked up for the first arrest October 17th.
Right.
October 9th is when this robbery took place. Now, mind you, from what I told you, I learned this at trial, that the victim has a photographic memory. That's what he said on the stand. Oh, I have a photographic memory. Victor took off his mask. I know his face. The place was well lit. All these lies. He forgot to mention, though, that on the 10th, or either the 10th or 11th, he was riding the city bus. And now he saw the person that took off their mask and said, oh, remember my face, remember this, remember that. See that person on the bus, he calls my arresting officer. Oh, I see the guy that actually robbed me on the bus. He's right here. I don't even think he recognizes me. Officer like, oh, take a picture, send it to my phone, let me see who it is. He takes the picture and sends it to the officer, and the officer says that person's name is Victor Abraham.
And it wasn't you.
It wasn't me. And then at my trial, they start questioning him about the picture. I don't know where the picture is. The picture was irrelevant.
Right. So basically, they had the guy send the picture to them,
Yes.
knowing that this is a whole different individual.
Yes.
But they tacked your name to the picture so that anybody who see the picture would think it's
Victor
you,
Abraham,
right?
yes.
Because the name is tacked to the picture.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's what they did. And then even at the grand jury indictment, he said the picture was of no value. He didn't know where the picture was. Nothing. So during my trial, I didn't even have the access to that picture to show the jury how big of a difference that person is from me. And even that shows like credibility with your witness, because how all of a sudden now he's guaranteed is me, but now how about that picture? Who was that in the picture? And they, mind you, they never investigated who was on that picture. Once they got me in their custody, once he looked at, oh, every black person looked the same. Oh, this is Victor Abraham. It appears to be the same male black.
Right. But in reality, the person who committed the crime was in that picture.
Exactly.
And they have not gotten this person yet to this day.
Till this day, that person, I don't know. I mean, I posted that picture, and people in my neighborhood was telling me who it was, and I don't want to expose that individual name or whatever the case may be.
That's their job. You know what I'm saying?
So, I found out that person, and even him himself, people was telling me, he suffered from mental problems too. He's messed up in the head. And even to my surprise, my friends were telling me that person got locked up and released.
Right.
Around the same time.
Right. That they was holding you.
Yes. So that person, they did find out who that person was, but because they already had me and they know what they wanted to do, they wanted to build this case to fit me, they released him, and he came back home, and ever since nobody know where he's at. But they held that at trial. He claimed he didn't know where that picture was, and now it's so funny that now I'm going after them. Now all of a sudden the state want to produce me the picture, and lo and behold, the picture isn't even me.
Okay. And SI Live has never done any story on this right here either. You know what I'm saying? So we're getting an exclusive. Right. But all of the stories they did on you, they should have did the story on the picture of the false identity. So that was one case, right? Yeah. So that one, how did that one go?
Yeah, so basically they combined it. So now when I got locked up for that second one, they combined it into one.
But that one and the 16-year-old kid that said you wrong.
They tried to make it look like I was a predicate, like, he's a career criminal, this is what he does. Mind you, I got no convictions, nothing on my record. So they tried to make it look like it was a big pattern or whatever the hell they was talking about. And so now on the second one, I'm learning that the night the kid got robbed, mind you, this is October 27th, around 8, 9 o'clock, it's raining. From the security footages I got, it's raining. 3 individuals approached them. Now, I'm not denying these people got hurt, these people got robbed or anything like that. This did happen.
A crime happened.
Yes, and from the security, you can see it's 3, you can't even see if they're white, black, or anything like that. You just see 3 people jumping him.
Bodies, right.
Yes, so that lasted about 10 seconds, and then they got the call for, robbery in progress or whatever, assault in progress. We need officers to respond to this place. Boom. A sergeant responded. So this is not his first day on the job. He's a sergeant, decorated.
And what a sergeant, because I don't know sergeants that just volunteer to respond to certain things. Right. Them become the sergeant for nothing. Where's the officers that's their job to do that? Yeah. You're gonna go do it and then you mess it up?
Yeah, he definitely messed it up. And wait till you hear this, because when he showed up, he had a single picture of me from the first arrest. I don't know how this guy got this picture. Now he's saying his commanding officer gave them the picture because, there's a bunch of other robberies going on. And do you know Victor Abraham? He's a suspect. But mind you, I wasn't wanted for anything. So by law, they're not supposed to be walking around showing people single pictures of me in the first place.
Exactly.
So for him to have that picture was automatically a violation of my rights, knowing what I know now. And so mind you, this kid is 16 years old. You're supposed to wait for his parents to even get on the scene before you even think about, asking him questions. He's a minor. You can't just, And so they did that. He backed up the picture and said, "Oh, do you know this? Do you know this person?" And the kid responded to him, "Oh, it looks like the guy that robbed me, but it's not him. It looks like him, but I don't think it's him." So that didn't fit his narrative. So he did his little, before his parents could even come there, he put him in a car, did a canvas of the neighborhood, you know, trying to, I guess, from what I can infer now, is like he was trying to suggest to him that I was the one who robbed him, like on some funny stuff.
And then why did the district attorney take this if it wasn't you?
The district,
If it was 100% sure that it was you?
because it was like they already had me and they had already subjected me to all this already, so they wasn't gonna do the right thing. These kids and these victims, you know, they regular human beings, you know, they get intimidated by cops. Even when you talk to cops, you feel intimidated because of the thing that's going on now. So in my situation, the cops couldn't even tell the truth, you know, and they take oaths and get paid all this amount of money to tell the truth, and they couldn't even tell the truth. So I wouldn't expect these people who have no loyalty to me or whatever to now all of a sudden decide to tell the truth. And the funny thing about it, by the time we got to trial and stuff, that's when the DA, and these cops are so wicked, I don't know if the DA knew about it, but it came a certain point, he found out about it. He knew about the misconduct. And instead of him reaching to the judge like, "Oh, this is a
Correcting the mistake.
yes, this is a failure case for us. We're gonna lose this case." These officers did a whole bunch of illegal stuff to this innocent person. We need to dismiss this case. But they were so deep in it that they just put my life and my freedom in 12 random people's hands that till this day, if those jurors would have believed those cops, man, you wouldn't even be sitting here having this conversation. Because if the judge can watch all this misconduct, he wasn't going to give me probation if they would have found me guilty. He would have tried to make an example of me.
And not only that, hopefully the truth would have came out, okay? But it took so long for the truth to come out that who knows if you didn't get it out then, when it would have came out, and then what damage would have been done. Because there's a lot of stuff that's happened to you while you was on Rikers for how many years?
For, like I said, the first one I did 18 days, and the next one I was remanded for 12 months. So for 12 months, I didn't have a bail, nothing. Even if I had the money to bail out, I couldn't even bail out because they had me on remand status. Because that's how, when I got locked up that second time, that's how they try to make it look so bad. Like, "Oh, you just gave him bail, Your Honor. You know, this is the type of thing he's doing. Remand." She wasn't even.
Now you're on Rikers with all the foolishness and everything else going on around you. What was that like to experience that?
It's a terrifying experience because, you know, when you in there, there's no unity. People try to make it seem like, "Oh yeah, everybody is united. Oh, that's my brother." There's really no unity in there because you find yourself in situations where you're getting attacked by inmates. You find yourself in a situation where you're getting attacked by correctional officers. So in my situation, that was my case. I was being attacked by inmates. I was being attacked by COs. So literally, I was in there by myself. Nobody had my back. Nobody did anything for me in that situation. I attempted suicide multiple times, and it's only by the grace of God they even decided to cut me down, because there's other people who they just left to kill themselves. So it was just, all I can say is God just had my back in that situation, because he knew that, you know, this was a lesson. This was not a place that I was supposed to remain, you know, indefinitely. It was a learning experience. Like,
And you needed to come. You needed to get the word out, okay? And you needed to help other people avoid even getting caught up in something like that.
And this is important because I just want to know, this is the type of criminal activities these cops do. These cops, anybody could be a cop nowadays from what I learned, because it didn't even take, he only needed 60 college credits and 5 years working as a regular officer to even be a sergeant.
But that doesn't give you the right to destroy somebody's life.
Exactly,
okay?
exactly.
That's the bigger picture, you know. What you have been through, who can't say we could fix it or anything, but you do deserve some type of resolution.
Right.
Okay? After going through that, I mean, them same people that fought as hard to convict you should have fought as hard, just to say I apologize or
Not even an apology.
nothing.
They was doing that trial. My mom, by the time the lies was coming up, lies like, oh, I took off my mask and said, remember my face, is a natural human response that my mother would, flare out on that. Oh, get that lady out of here, the judge. Oh, get her out of here. She can't come back if she not gonna behave herself. Like, how you expect my mother to act?
Any parent whose
Yes.
child is away from home and sitting on Rikers Island, okay? Any prison, detention, anywhere, as a parent, and your child is there and you know they're innocent.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're with my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some honestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable. Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking. Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.